Hey, welcome everyone. Today we're very pleased to have as our special guest Gisèle Chabudez, who is a psychoanalyst and psychiatrist based in Paris. She is the vice president of the group Espace Analytique and the editor of the journal that some of you would know, Figures de la Psychanalyse. I'll say something about her work in a moment, but the reason for this visit is to celebrate and to hear about her first book that's been translated into English. What Can We Know About Sex? A Lacanian Study of Sex and Gender. Copies have just arrived and will be on sale after the talk. Gisèle has been working on this theme for many, many years. And I know that some of you might remember this remarkable book. I'm sure, Bernard, you remember this one from '94, Le Concept du Phallus, which was, when it appeared, it was really the first book by a Lacanian psychoanalyst to really offer a rigorous, detailed, in-depth reading of Lacan's concept of the phallus, how it had changed over the years, and some consequences and questions around it. It's a short book, but in a way, it was kind of programmatic, because afterwards Gisèle's written half a dozen more books around the same themes. After the concept of the phallus, I hope I'm getting the order right, there was rapport sexuel and rapport de sexe, the sexual relation and the relation between the sexes, 2004, again, a very careful, thoughtful reading of Lacan, developing some of the themes from the concept of the phallus, but opening up a lot of other questions. Then there was a book about dreams, L'Équation des rêves, again, very unusual in the analytic world. You can count on one hand the number of Lacanian books written about dreams, a very original contribution. And then it was back to gender and sexuation a few years later with Ce qui noue le corps au langage, what links the body and language, which is, again, a theme that we find in the phallus book and in the book that we've just had translated into English. After that, there was What Can We Know About Sex, which we're going to hear much more about today. Then in 2020, a book that I can really recommend if you haven't read it already, unfortunately not in English, it's in French, called Fécondité singulière, which is a kind of, it really takes a perspective on psychoanalysis and feminism in the 20th, beginning of the 21st century, and looks at the kind of the broad picture. So there's a lot in it about D.H. Lawrence. There's a much wider cultural exploration. So it goes far beyond a reading of Lacan. And it's a remarkable book. Then after that, we have a new one, which has just come out recently this year, which is called Féminisme et Féminité, le tout et le partout, feminisms and femininities, both in the plural, the all and the not all, which I haven't yet read this one. I'm looking forward to it, which is, again, I think, an elaboration of the questions of sexuation, the all, the not all, desire, jouissance, and some of the things we're going to hear about today. And it's also a special pleasure to have Gisèle here because it's her first ever time speaking in this country. She's talked to an Anglophone audience before in New York, maybe a bit more than 10 years ago. And there are also some colleagues from New York who've joined us today. So hi, Paola, and hi, everyone in New York from the Après-Coup group and perhaps in other groups. You can, if you look in the camera, that's where they'll see you. Okay, so hello, everyone from the States. So how we're going to organize this evening, Gisèle's going to do a very brief presentation about the book, and then we're going to have some questions, a dialogue around the themes, and then I'm sure she'll be very happy to sign books for you. So Gisèle, over to you.
Thanks, Darian. So I will try to speak a little in English, but not very long, but just a little. First, I would like to thank Darian Leader for this excellent work in editing this book. We got along all the better during the exchanges we had, as I share with him the taste of saying things that one doesn't yet know, but no one else said, rather than those that we already know. And in this vein, his work allows us to challenge many received ideas whose meaning is lost and to read things in a new way. And really, it's only new meaning that it is a meaning.